This might look like a vast piece of driftwood, but it's not. It's a jawbone. This is a rib. And for a bone collector like Charlie Potter, that means that Christmas came early this year.
You know, for us to get a complete specimen, that was one on my bucket list.
Charlie manages the Smithsonian's collection of marine mammals. Much of the collection consists of bones, but these are special.
When we learned that this specimen was available, we jumped on it. It's the very first complete skeleton of a North Atlantic right whale that we've ever received.
North Atlantic right whales are among nature's largest and rarest creatures. There are only about 500 or so in the wild. So few, in fact, that scientists have actually cataloged most of them as individuals. So when a right whale washes up dead, the scientists who study them want to know which one died and how.
When one of these unfortunate events occurs, it's almost like a CSI kind of investigation. This animal had a very complex wrap of medium to heavy line on it. Cause of death was entanglement.
Michael Moore studies right whales at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute.
For the last 3 years, this animal has been essentially a John Doe whale. We didn't know who it was. I got an email from a colleague at the New England Aquarium. He'd been trying to go back to these cold cases and figuring out who the dead whales were that we hadn't yet matched to the catalog.
There were some clues about this particular whale's identity.
We have a few photos when this animal was first observed dead at sea that showed an unusual color marking on the tip of its flukes.
We also had genetic material from the animal when it died. The evidence from the genetics and from the photograph from the tail tip enabled us to match it back to an animal called Tips.
In the North Atlantic right whale catalog, Tips was known as number 1124. He was a male, at least 31 years old, but to the scientists who knew him, he was much more than that.
And he was a bit of a ladies' man. Apparently, from the genetics, he fathered a number of calves. He was also seen closer inshore than many right whales. So he was a notorious whale in various ways and much loved.
But while Tip's death may have been untimely, it was not necessarily in vain. Tip's bones have already provided scientists with a better understanding of the right whale's anatomy, and information as to how he and other whales died is providing insight into how they can be protected.
The two problems that we're diagnosing primarily are vessel collisions and fishing gear entanglement. So essentially, without appropriate management in hand to reduce these mortalities, this species is significantly under the threat of extinction. They are coastal, they're large, they're graceful, they're beautiful, and if we can't conserve that kind of organism, which is really in our face, and so sort of charismatic, how on earth are we going to manage with the animals that are less so?